What's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm John Browner. This is the John Browner Podcast. I am coming to you live on many social platforms. I'm coming to you live to talk many things. I come here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., and we are available on lots of stuff. And as I normally start the show, I normally give you a little taste of this, but I've been very busy. I've been meeting with people. I've been trying to work things out. And so you usually see the show start like this. And when you see the show start like this, I'm populating the show around the internet. And so give me 1 second as I populate the show and you talk amongst yourself. But as you do that, know that you can always reach this show at the John Browner Podcast at gmail.com because I want people to be able to talk to me in any way they want to talk to me. Now understand, if you email me a complaint, I'm gonna read it, and if it's nasty, I'm gonna throw it in the trash. But if it's worth commenting about, I'll respond. But outside of that, we got a lot on the show. The show's available via X. The show's available via Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Y'all know that Kickbot gonna show up because they always do shout out to her or him or they. I don't know what people are labeling themselves these days. But let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road. I got a lot of questions. I don't know. Who is the MVP? What is the MVP made of? I'm going to dive into that. Superstar behavior is very important, and we are getting superstar behavior in the right field for the Padres. You're getting superstar behavior in center field for the Cubs, and Shohei Ohtani is doing, or Ophony as I like to call him, he's doing what he's doing. Can TATIS make a run at MVP? We'll get to it. We'll talk about it. We'll have that conversation later in the show. As always, I try to start the show saying what up to the chat pack. The chat pack, for people who don't know, are folks who are in the comment section. These people are my co-host of the show. They help me break down things. They help me with pronunciations. They are my eyes when things are happening. I dip in, they dip in. We communicate, we talk. That's how we do the show. That's how this show runs. With the help of you, you are a part of this show just as much as I am the conduit in which it flows through. Now, with that said, let's kind of start the show. So, as usual, I start something with let's start here. Today's let's start here comes from the Cubs game, the Cubs White Sox game. No, I don't want to talk about Pete Crow Armstrong's home run parade. By the way, the statistical anomalies that are being created now because we have so many stats, it's kind of nauseating. But that's not what I want to start with. I want to start with an oldie but a goodie. If you cannot fight, do not talk crazy at a baseball game. Do not talk crazy at a football game. Do not talk crazy at any sporting event. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. If you can't fight, or if you're not ready to fight, buddy, keep your mouth shut at these sporting events. This is not complicated. This is not hard. If you don't want your ass whooped and to be trending around the internet, keep your damn mouth shut. I can't play the video because then I'll get a strike on the account. And as y'all know, we on the road to 500, and I don't really want to get no strikes until we cross that barrier where we can start advertising this thing. So let's play nice. But if you want to see that fight, head over to X and type in, or you Google, do a separate screen where you can still hear my voice, but you can see this fight. Google White Sox Cubs Bleacher Brawl. That's the latest installment of this. There's a big fella, and sometimes people think because they're big, they're scary. But sometimes you being big is just a challenge. And you got to remember, see, I used to frequent the nightclubs, and I'm a tall guy, so I've run into some fisticuffs from time to time because people get liquid courage and they want to fight a guy. And there's nothing better than telling the story about the time you knocked out this big ass guy at some bar you were at downtown. So trust me, I've had to, show people why they're little and why I'm big. But sometimes being big doesn't save you. Being big makes you a target. And when I tell you this Cubs fan, whatever he said, he did not want to fight. His buddy, though, his buddy, on the other hand, who threw the drink, he thought he wanted to fight. See, in these stadium situations, you don't know how many folks people came with. It's similar to a bar. You don't know who came with these people. Yeah, you see them talking to somebody, and now you in a back and forth, and they standing next to somebody, but you don't know who they came with. So let's start here. Stop fighting at sporting events if you're not ready to fight. Now, I can't stop people from fighting totally, but if you ain't ready to throw them hands, if you ain't ready to mink, if you ain't ready for 2 pieces and a biscuit, boy, please keep your hands in your pocket and your voice at a cheering volume. Because this big fellow was talking big. He had the advantage. He was bigger. He was up. They were down a couple rows. But buddy, when I tell you them boys jumped on him like piranhas. They had gray shirts and black shirts coming out of everywhere, whooping Buddy's ass. When you get to the point of the fight, when you are just in cover and wait for help mode, buddy, you ain't doing well. This fight sent people scattering left and right in the bleachers. And Buddy was just taking them, ying, 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 until they pulled homie off of him. If you big and you can't fight, shut up. Because you look worse. If you finna run your mouth at a sporting event, it's Cubs White Sox. That's like Yankees. That's like Red Sox Yankees. That's like Yankees Mets. That's like I wish I could say Lakers Clippers, but not so much. Any crosstown rivalry, any town where there's two teams in the same city, it gets frisky. And as a Chicago native, as a Chicagoan, I can tell you the north side and the south side split on baseball is as genuine as that fight looked. Ain't no games to be played if you go to a Sox Cubs game talking crazy about the other team, because you could get your ass whooped. Case in point, I have seen enough fights. We used to do this thing on the Kaplan and Crew show called Stadium Fights. If you remember Stadium Fights, we did a segment on the show that got so popular. The show started growing at a rate we did not expect. Like, the Kaplan and Crew had some trouble growing initially. And then when we started doing Stadium Fights, it caught on like wildfire. And we started getting subscribers to the show because we were rating fights. Lots of fights, because there were so many fights. And this went on for like 2 or 3 months. And then YouTube started docking us and started striking our account because we were promoting violence and violating community guidelines for whatever we were doing. But when I tell you that's how the show grew, because people like it. People like it. But the fact that people, and I listen. I'm with Michael Panis. Grown men fighting at a sporting event is as old as time. It was dumb then, it's dumb now, and it'll be dumb in the future. You're not winning anything in the parking lot, partner. The parking lot fisticuffs only comes out of your pocket via hospital bill or bail money if they catch you. And they probably will catch you because there's cameras everywhere in those stands and there's cameras everywhere in those parking lots. You ain't getting away. They got your license plate, dummy. If you hop in the Uber, they got their license plate, dummy. So you got to understand, when you fight at a stadium, please be prepared to pay for another ticket. And this ticket may be more expensive than the one you paid to get into the stadium. I may be able to do that, Crystal Davis. I may be able to advise. These fights are for educational purposes only. Let's try that. Let's try that. Hell, whatever. Let's see if we get dinged. Let's do that. Let's see if we can get away with putting this fight up. And if if YouTube takes us down. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let's turn up the volume. Let's whiten the screen. Oh wait, no. Let's get a better video. So I'm going to share the screen. It's not going to be big. Hold on. No. See, we got to try stuff. We can't be scared. If we scared, we get a dog. Let's give this a shot. Now, remember, there's going to be no sound on this. See now, big fella who threw the kick, problem. And now here we go. Bottles start flying. See, big fella did a lot of talking. But big fella, he ain't got no punches. He just trying to hold folks off. Cause now he throwing people to the wild, and now it's on. Mink, 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 mink. Look at it. Oh, like I said, like piranhas. Buddy in the Cubs shirt came in. He started getting hits in. That Cub on Cub violence. Like if you're not ready to throw hands, look at this. Look at this. They're everywhere. They're being mean. No security. Mean. Like, if you're not ready to fight, that was for educational purposes. I am trying to educate people on why it is not wise to fight in stadiums. Okay? So, for educational purposes, when you are getting minked like that, and all you can do at that point is cover up because you don't know where the punch is coming from. Drinks are thrown on you. The Cub on Cub violence was wild. I saw some socks on socks violence. None of it made sense. But when punches start getting thrown and it's 6 guys whooping big fella, you made the worst decision possible. And he walked out of there bloody. Now, I'm not going to show no blood because that'll really get the show taken down. But he walked out of there dripping. Not sweat, not beer, blood. So can we please come to an understanding? We cannot regulate fighting out because there's drinking involved. These people are revved up for these games. These Cubs Sox games have been phenomenal. These are some of the best Cubs Sox games we've had in years because the White Sox are actually competitive and the Cubs are looking like they're ready to make a World Series push. And so this was actually 2 really competitive games at night. So, folks been talking trash all day. And this buddy, whoever they got into it with, they came 8 to 10 deep. They had a guy disguised as a Cub fan coming there. Move people out the way. Clear. Yank, 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 yank. It's rough out here, man. It's rough out here. So let's start there. Stop fighting. If you can't fight, don't talk. If you're not ready to throw hands, don't talk like you're ready to throw hands because people are. Okay? Don't talk like you're ready to fight because people come to the game ready to fight. Guy who likes to fight doesn't only go to bars and drinks. He goes to games and drinks. Guy who likes to fight at the gym. Guy who likes to fight at the school pickup line. Guy who likes to fight at school functions. Guy who likes to fight umpires, referees, other dads in the stands. Guy who likes to fight is everywhere. And you have to be very cognizant of guy who likes to fight. Because he'll fight at a kid's game. He'll fight at a major league game. He'll fight at a PTA meeting. Guy who likes to fight will fight anywhere. And if you not him and you can't recognize him, buddy, please shut all the way up. Because the last thing I want to see is you getting whooped by 5 guys at a Cubs game in the bleachers and security ain't nowhere to be found. Because again, understand, security just getting paid. They're not going to take no punches for you, big fella. You not the president. Okay? You ain't PCA. You're not Pete Crow Armstrong in the stands, buddy. You out there getting worked. They asked him about it, and he said, man, listen, we battling on the field, and he took him second, and he said, they battling in the stands too. You know, and out here in LA, out here in Southern California, you know, Dodger fans, they fight. Padre fans, they fight. Because you know why? Guy who likes to fight wears every jersey. Now, there are some people who like to fight a little bit more, looking at you, Raider fan. But like to fight guy wears every jersey. There isn't a representative of likes to fight guy that doesn't exist on every team. Every team's got one. Every team. So you need to be able to identify them so you can get home safely. You feel me? Don't be that guy. Don't be big fella on the internet tomorrow because you ran your mouth at a game and you ain't likes to fight guy. And you ran into likes to fight clan. Them boys jumped on him like man, listen. They came out like a kung fu group, boy. They came out like Avengers Assemble. Two-piece in a biscuit. That was a 12-piece in a biscuit. What is 6 of them? Hey, that might have been a 24-piece. Hands and feet. Biscuit. And threw a couple drinks in there for good measure. So cut it out, man. If you ain't built like that, don't be that guy, man. You know, I always include the Sporting Tribune on what I'm doing because I'm now a member of the Sporting Tribune, so shout out to me. I'm not writing articles there yet because I don't, you can't give everything away at once because y'all know I'm a published man. I've been published. I'm a columnist. I'm an opinionist. Is that even a? Hey, listen, man. That's why I got Google to help me with that. I don't even know if opinionist is the word. That's why I don't write no articles. But that's not the point. Check everything out at the Sporting Tribune. The Sporting Tribune is getting ready to launch a television show as well. I'll be a part of that. I am in charge of the podcast network. I am the director of the podcast network. So we got a lot of good guys and a lot of good shows coming up, and I want you guys to be able to check that out. So I'll let you know as things continue to drop. I'm hosting the show, and you guys will be able to check that out too. So stay tuned. When things get ready to drop, I'll let y'all know. But shout out to the Sporting Tribune. Now, we'll get to that. Superstar behavior is about one person in right field and another person in center field and maybe the DH. But you got to know when you won. What the hell am I talking about? Recently, Roger Goodell was asked a question about expansion. He said, we're going to continue to have games around the world, but when it comes to the NFL expanding into other parts of the globe, that is far, far out. The NBA and Adam Silver has been gung-ho about putting NBA teams and NBA markets in Europe. I have got to be very honest with you. I hate this idea. If you're the NFL, you've got to know when you have won. You have conquered this country from coast to coast with football. Football is so popular in America, college football is popular. College soccer works anywhere else in the world. The sport of soccer, which they call football outside of this country, is the number one sport in the world. There is no collegiate. Oxford isn't playing soccer against Cambridge. We're the only country that has college athletics. We're the only ones. This only works here. NFL Europe failed miserably. Let me repeat that again. NFL Europe failed miserably. You can do a couple games a year abroad. You can do a game in Mexico. You can do a game in Germany. You can do a game in Australia. You can do games in these places. That's totally fine. Once a year, you get to travel the world and cheer for your team in a different part of the country or world that you would have never gone to if it weren't for the NFL. So that's a positive part of this. If they put a team in London, that's going to bomb. If they put a football team in Germany, an NFL franchise in Germany, it's going to bomb. They do not digest the sport the way that we do. The Super Bowl is a global event because it's the only game that they have to watch. And it's a global game in a sense because one game out of the year, the entire world covers that game. The NFL has done a great job reaching out to media and getting global media to visit the Super Bowl. That's different than selling out 100,000 seats that they do for soccer around the world. You're just not going to be able to do that. At some point, you've got to know when you've won. And I believe that the NFL has peaked. This is as best as it's going to get. Be happy with that. Be happy with being able to do a game in Mexico and grow your reach for fans. Be happy to do a game in Australia and be welcomed in Australia and in Europe and in all these in France and all these other places where American football has been accepted. That's great. If you want to put a team in Mexico, because that's still on the continent, do that. If you want to put a team in Canada, do that. I'm all for both those things happening. I would love to see a team in Mexico City. I would love to see a team in Vancouver. I would love to see a team in Toronto. I would love to see that when it comes to expansion in those places. When you have to fly across the water, even flying to Mexico City is a challenge because the altitude is completely different. And so when you're talking about moving sports franchises across the sea, that's a failure. NFL Europe failed doing this. The NBA will fail eventually when they do this because they're talking about putting 4 or 5 teams over there. You can barely get 4 or 5 teams that are watchable in this country. When the last time you watched a Pelicans game or a Hornets game or a Nets game? What up, Joseph Side? We waiting on you, big dog. So to me, as we sit and we watch this, if you're in the NBA, if you're an NBA fan, if you're a diehard fan like I am, I will watch the NBA whenever it's on. Period. I'm 10% of their fan base. Most of the NBA is made up of casuals. So if you got a bunch of casuals watching the game, the casuals don't watch the Bucks now that Giannis isn't on the team. The casual aren't watching the Sacramento Kings. Soon the casuals won't be watching the Golden State Warriors. And so you want to take a cluster of teams, new names, new faces, and flop 3 of those people in Europe to build a circuit that when you travel to Europe, you do the European circuit. That's going to fail. It's going to fail. The league doesn't have the amount of talent that you need to have 34 teams. No league does. You're talking about the 0.01% of athletes. There's not enough of them to go around. Now there's not enough of them to go around. Why would you attempt to expand that? And football is far harder because you need 12 guys to play basketball. So it's feasible. You need 53 operating bodies to play a live football game. We don't even have 20 good quarterbacks in the NFL. We don't even have 30 good wide receivers in the NFL. We don't even have 25 good pass rushers in the NFL. And you want to take this game to a whole nother country? Nah, man. Know when you've won, NFL. You won. You won the arms race to get the most eyeballs. So I don't necessarily understand or know the future I can tell you what works and what doesn't work because I've been watching this for a very long time. I'm 45. I've been actively viewing sports for 35 years. I've been covering sports in some way, shape, or fashion for 15 years. Wildly, by the way, when I said it out loud, but I've been covering sports for 15 years. We've all been watching sports all our adult lives. We know if something has a chance to work and not work. There, there are people who say NBA basketball wouldn't work in San Diego. So how the hell is it going to work in a completely different country, thousands of miles away? So yeah, I don't. Good luck, man. I don't think that. I think the NFL could survive in Mexico City. I think the NFL can survive in Toronto. I think the NFL can survive in Vancouver. That's the list. Those are the three places. If you expand the NFL, I would say you make it a continental sport. It will never be a global sport. It is not like soccer. Soccer is a global sport, but even in this country, soccer is we are the C League. And I was told this by soccer people. This is not my opinion. I was told the MLS is a C B minus league by soccer people. So if we can't be the best at the sport in our own country, where we don't even turn out our best athletes, look at it. Look at Affy. Affy says D League. Affy says that the MLS is the D League, and the D does not stand for development. So if you're the D League and you can really only get guys like Messi to come here because he's at the end of his career and he's trying to pop up his popularity in a place where we know you can make a lot of money here as a star athlete. If Messi can find a way through his venture in Miami and the MLS to supplant his face as the face of soccer in this sport, there is advertising dollars globally behind that. Again, he's already a global star. He's not an American star. Those are different things. LeBron James is a global star who only plays in America. Shohei Ohtani is a global star that only plays in America. Now, he has a Japanese origin, and he has a massive fan base there because of that. But WVC Smirk says MLS is a retirement home. And these are people who like the sport, by the way. Athy loves soccer. I think VC loves soccer too. These are people who love soccer, and they will be honest with you and give you an assessment that it is the D League and MLS is a retirement home. I mean, I can't. Zlatan came to retire. David Beckham came to retire. Messi came to retire. Don't be surprised if Ronaldo finds his way here as well. Because at some point, they want the American dollar. They want the American advertising dollar. Yeah, I'm not ripping San Diego fans in no way, shape, or form, Affy. Affy says, and shout out to the chat pack. Affy says, yeah, I love soccer. San Diego fans are top tier. Yeah, whenever there is soccer on television, San Diego ranks as one of the highest viewed places in the country for when a big soccer event goes on American television. There are people in bars here at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to watch soccer. The local fan base here is 100% dialed in. And that's what pisses me off, that we here are dialed in and we can't get the top talent to come play here in their prime. Because financially, we can't cut those checks. We don't create the talent here. Therefore, we can't cut the checks here. So therefore, the players go play somewhere else. I don't even know. Lewandowski, is that a beer? I don't even know who that is. That's how far I am from who's who and what's in soccer. Yeah, Carlos. Alex be waking up all times in the morning watching that. I'm not me, buddy. I got 5 kids. I need as much sleep as I can get. One of them 6 months, bro. I ain't waking up to watch nothing. I'll catch you on the playback, buddy. That's what DVR was invented for. You ain't finna have me waking up. So this Lewandowski is the 6th best player ever. Yeah, well, that goes to show you he wants that American dollar. Lowenbrow or whatever Zindusky, whatever the name is, he wants that American dollar. He wants that American recognition. What Messi is doing and the amount of money Messi is making in America, other guys have seen that and went, oh yeah, that MLS retirement home looks real good right now. That MLS retirement home looks like it fits me. Let me go get a room. When is the shuffleboard game? So to the NFL, just know that you've won, man. Roger Goodell, at some point, you just got to sit back and go, we've done it. You got to look back at your kingdom, dog. You've conquered America. You've conquered the American sports landscape. Football will always exist. There are people who say, oh, man, football is going to go away. Football's never going to go away because there will always be poor people. Rich, affluent kids do not play football. Poor kids do. This is why the South has dominated football for so long. Southern football from Texas to Florida has dominated the sport for so long because that's the poorest part of the country. It's not rocket science, man. Football is a way out for a lot of these young men. So they will strap that helmet on and they will run through a brick wall if that means they get to play for some university and enrich their families. Sorry. This is a fact, man. The idea that people will stop playing football because it's too violent, they don't know this country. I don't know who y'all thought was going to take over the country where football would stop. Oh, they're getting concussions. Yeah, they're signing up for them. Oh, they're getting head trauma. They're signing up, limbs being broken. They are signing up for it. You played high school football for free. Your parents had to sign a permission slip for you to crack heads, for you to tear ACLs, for you to break bones, for you to get your fingers bent in ways that even to this day, it ain't the same. For free. For the attempt to play it at the next level. And then you get to that level and you risk more of your body. You risk more of your life. You risk more of your health to make it to the level after that where the reward is handsome. Where you get a king's ransom to play a child's game. The NFL will never stop. There will never be an end to the NFL. But Roger Goodell needs to accept that he has won. The other owners in the NFL have to accept that they have won. There was never even another person in the fight since the 70s. You have dwarfed the NBA in coverage. You have lapped baseball many, many times over. Hockey was never a challenge for you. The NFL owns the sports calendar. You don't have to own the globe. You already own it in the best way possible when you want to. The NBA has got a ways to go, and I don't think the NBA will ever reach the NFL because 82 games is too many. The NFL, your team plays once a week, sometimes on Thursday, sometimes on Monday, but mostly on Sunday. It's the easiest sport to follow. You don't have to pay to watch it on television. It's literally on free TV in the network in which you live in once a week. It's the perfect sport to dominate this country. It's fast, it's violent, it's free, and it's once a week if you root for a team. So, yeah, you got to know when you won, man. You got to know when it's over, NFL. There are no opponents for you. There's no one for you to compete against. You the champ, big dog. It's you. It's just you. You won, fam. It's over. Get off them. The NFL are the White Sox fans beating up the Cubs fan. It's over, bruh. Y'all won. Y'all ain't got to keep minking the other sports. Y'all ain't got to steal Christmas. The NFL used to own Thanksgiving. The NFL said, nah, we want Christmas. In addition to owning Christmas, we also own New Year's Day. Those used to be NBA days. The NFL owns the calendar now. And Afi makes a very good point. The NBA can't reach the NFL because you're not 6'4" plus. You won't make it. So it's unrelatable. Yeah. You can be short and fat and play football. You can be tall and skinny. You can be anything and play football. You can kick. What I didn't learn in high school is what I wish I would have. The scholarships floating around for an athlete of my caliber in high school, buddy, they was everywhere. I just didn't want to play. I didn't want to play. I'd have been somebody's Antonio Gates somewhere, somehow. I wanted to keep dunking on fools. But no, you've won, NFL. But this, though, ooh, wait. Ooh, wait. By the way, I want to give a shout out to Casey Mize, by the way. I want to give a shout out to Casey Mize because, buddy, that first impression, you were awful. That first impression, Casey Mize, was awful. By the way, the Padres are playing right now. That first impression, Casey Mize, buddy, you were embarrassing. But you have rounded out. You've been better. Robbie Ray has been great since coming along. What the Padres have now been able to do, and by the way, I told you guys the formula for what we need going forward. If the Padres have the lead in the 8th inning, the game should be over. Yesterday was a great exercise in that. All sponsored by one person and one person only, Fernando Tatis Jr. This show will be a absolute, I don't want to say tribute, but an acknowledgement that Fernando Tatis Jr. should be getting MVP votes. Yeah, Robbie Ray needs to do stop. He needs to stop walking people. Robbie Ray needs to stop issuing out them free passes. But I think that's kind of what he is. You're going to get some free passes. But when we talk about what we saw from Fernando Tatis Jr. yesterday, Fernando Tatis Jr. was responsible. Now, remember this. Fernando Tatis Jr. has been responsible yesterday for 7 runs. He robbed a grand slam and then gave you 3 RBIs, 2 via the home run. If we're talking about plus minus in baseball, you will not find a day where someone gives you better than that. Responsible for 7 runs, took 4 from the other team. I mean, we gave away 2 yesterday, but not yesterday, but game 1 against the Mets, old third base coach, gave away 2 runs. Tatis took 4 of those back yesterday. The robbing of that home run was so sick. That was so sick. That's why he's your Golden Glover. This is why in the season when he wasn't hitting home runs, his WAR. Hold on, where them glasses at? Where them glasses? Oh, you lucky I can't find my glasses, Graham. Don't you ever come in here with that WAR. Don't you ever? Hold on, Graham. Graham. Hold on. I got something for you, dog. I got something for you. I don't want you to feel left out. You came in here with the WAR. I got something for you, big fella. Don't do that. Don't come in here talk about no WAR. Don't come here talking about no WAR, man. Don't come on this show talking about no damn WAR. You know that. You know we don't need them stats around here. Carlos, what you okay, listen. Listen, Carlos. I'm not gay, but I had to take a cold shower after that catch. Come on, fam. Shots fired. What you doing? What you doing? After he asks, you still think he's zesty. But that was a zesty catch. What you mean? What you why see, listen, you asked me a question, I answered the question. You asked me a question, I'm gonna answer your question. Sorry. I thought that extra he put on there. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was sick. That catch was sick. And the way he held the ball and flipped that thing up, caught it with the other hand. I need that as a meme. That's the best gotcha bitch meme we got going. But it was still zesty, dog. Stop playing with me. Come on, bro. That was listen, bro. That energy he had on that thing, boom, robbed him, held it, made it look tough, and flipped it, caught it. That was nasty. It was nasty. I ain't gonna lie. It was nasty. That was an A1 catch. You ain't gonna find a lot of better catches than that in that particular situation, in that moment of a grand slam. Graham, let me give you credit. I did shoot at you, so let me give you credit. He did literally win the game by himself. That only gets you a 1? He stole 4 runs and gave you 3. His run differential yesterday. Oh, look at me. Look at me go on my bag. Look at me go on my bag. His run differential yesterday was 7, dog. Is that a thing in baseball, run differential? I know it is in basketball, plus minus. His plus minus was a 7. The hat flip, he was flipping everything. His wrist, his hat, the glove. He ain't got no Terry Crews vibes. Come on, man. Don't do that. Okay. Listen, I guess I walked into that. Nah, let's leave him alone. I don't like Terry Crews. I'm not a Terry Crews guy. So I wouldn't do that to Tatis. Not on his worst day. I wouldn't give him no Terry Crews vibes. Come on, man. Don't do that. I kid around with Tatis. I ain't gonna never put Terry Crews and Fernando Tatis Jr. in the same sentence. Them vibes, they ain't vibrating the same. You gotta watch out for Terry Crews, buddy. Okay. If you see Terry Crews in the bathhouse, you better run. You best to run for your life. But yeah, man, Terry Crews. Look, man, what Tatis did yesterday was something that we on this show have been talking about all season. I've said for the last 3 months, Terry Crews. Oh, I said Terry Crews, not Terry Crews. My bad. Terry Crews might be a little. Yeah. Anyway, what I've said about Fernando Tatis Jr. has not changed. I simply said we need to recalibrate the way we root for him and envision him as a player going forward. He has never stopped being the best right fielder in baseball. He's never stopped being havoc on the bases. He battles at the plate. The power just did not exist. But even when the power didn't exist, he was still hitting the ball harder than anyone else in baseball. I don't know why they were tracking this, but they were, because to me, outs and out. But nonetheless, he was hitting the ball harder than anyone else in the sport at one point in time during the season. The ball just wasn't getting any elevation. It is now. It is now. Let me ask Siri a question. Let me see if Siri can help me with this. Hey, Siri. Can you compare the stats since the All-Star break between Pete Crow Armstrong and Fernando Tatis Jr. in Major League Baseball? And we'll see what she comes up with. I don't know. She didn't help me out. But yeah, that's really what we're talking about here. What Fernando Tatis Jr. has done in the second half of the season is the same thing that Pete Crow Armstrong is doing for the Cubs. Pete Crow Armstrong started the game with a home run. I think this was today's Wednesday, so this was Monday against the White Sox. He started the game with the home run. Ended the game with the home run. Started yesterday's game with the home run. Fernando Tatis Jr. hits 2 home runs. The day before that, hit a bomb home run where the camera almost lost it. So when we're talking about people who are the lifeblood and now the engine for their team, Fernando Tatis Jr. is playing on par with what Pete Crow Armstrong is doing. This morning on Get Up, you know who led the show? Fernando Tatis Jr. Get Up is a football show. Do you know how dynamic you have to be for a baseball highlight to lead on Get Up? When you rob a grand slam and the first pitch of the game, you hit it over the fence, followed by hitting another home run later in the game, yeah, that's going to lead the show. Fernando Tatis is in the form in which I always thought he was. Obviously, last year was rough. The everything after the steroid controversy has been rough, and it just kind of feels like he's finding his own groove. I think Fernando Tatis Jr. is putting himself in a category with the Otanis. He's putting himself in a category with the Pete Crow Armstrongs. Because, by the way, I don't think there's a difference between him and Pete Crow Armstrong. Fernando Tatis Jr. has had the best second half in baseball. Pete Crow Armstrong has had the best year in baseball. But if you also remember, at one point in time, the Cubs had lost 12 of 16 or something of that nature. So the idea that, Pete Crow Armstrong was good even then, that's all I'm saying. That's only the only difference is that Pete Crow Armstrong's power was evident to start the season, and Tatis's power was absent to start the season. Both teams struggled throughout the year. Both teams are in the wild card hunt. Both teams are led by a guy who's tremendous in the outfield, but I would say Fernando Tatis is better in right field than Pete Crow Armstrong is in center field. And it's August the 19th. We got time for Tatis to get into this discussion. We got time. We got time for some Tatis MVP talk. If he does it to the point where he keeps finding himself on Sports Center and he keeps leading Get Up, the conversation will happen. By the way, this 10 o'clock start, I knew this was bad news. They don't even have a hit yet. They've been through the whole lineup. The lineup's about to flip. They don't have a hit. By the way, neither do the Mets. So let that be what it is. But yeah, man, this has been one of the better turn of events. Oh, Affy's going to break it down for us. Okay, so is this post All-Star break, I'm assuming, right? So Pete Crow, no, he didn't have 23 home runs post All-Star break. These are Pete. I'm gonna say these are Pete Crow Armstrong's. Oh no, okay, yeah. This is post All-Star break. Pete Crow Armstrong, 274 average. Shout out to Affy. 274 average, 23. I don't know if those 23 hits. I don't think that's correct. 5 home runs, 18 RBIs, 19 runs in 22 games. Tatis he's batting 302 with 3 home runs, 14 RBIs, 11 runs in 16 games. Now we got to fact check that, but y'all the fact checkers. So, but my point being, Fernando Tatis Jr. has played MVP level baseball. And to say he can't reach that status after we were seeing Pete Crow Armstrong be talked about like that, after the Cubs were just as bad as the Padres earlier in the season. My question to you is why not? They're not leading the division. They're not. The Cubs aren't leading their division. Milwaukee's was running away with it, but they're coming back to earth too. So I'm asking a simple question. The Dodgers are struggling right now. Whether you believe the struggles to be, real or not, the Dodgers are struggling right now. You you tell me why he can't be thought of as MVP. The Padres are 8 games behind the Dodgers. The Cubs are 4.5, basically 5 games behind the Brewers. They're both doing highlight plays. What's the difference? Shout out to Affy on the stats and information today. You tell me what's the difference between Pete Crow Armstrong and Fernando Tatis Jr. right now. I would throw Ohtani in there too. He ain't pitching. It depends on how you value the award. The Padres have been better than the Dodgers since the All-Star break, if we want to really get into that. Tatis has been one of the best players in baseball since the All-Star break. Period. End of story. That's what I call superstar behavior. All right, now let me see. What else did I have? I think I did have one more thing. One more thing. I'm a big Marvel DC guy. I don't pick sides. I love them both. I saw Spider-Man. I thought Spider-Man was the best Spider-Man of all the Spider-Mans, whether it be Tobey Maguire, whether it be what is this kid's name? The guy who stains Phil or whatever. The other guy the Amazing Spider-Man. And then now Tom Holland. Tom Holland as Spider-Man has been, if not the best, movie, Marvel, superhero, Andrew Garfield. Thank you, WBC. Tom Holland has taken the mantle from, I would say, as Spider-Man. I guess the question is, who's better at this point? Tom Holland as Spider-Man or Christian Bale as Batman? Because the two of those two trilogies, if you put those two trilogies against each other, the only thing that I would give the nod to, I'm talking about by a hair, I would give the nod to the Batman trilogy only because of Christopher Nolan. What Christopher Nolan did with the Batman trilogy was amazing. But what we have seen from Tom Holland and the Spider-Man franchise has absolutely, the last one saved Marvel. It's a $1 billion film. It saved Marvel was circling the drain. I don't know what the situation was, but Marvel has found its way back to the forefront with the Spider-Man movie. That movie was unbelievable. So to me, watching, and I bring those up to say, I saw the first episode of Green Lantern. And Green Lantern has never been done well. Ever. In live action. Green Lantern has never been done well in live action. Period. It's hard to do Green Lantern because the CGI that you need because of the ring, it makes the character difficult. But at the end of the day, it's never been done well. The Green Lantern on HBO is the first time I watched the Green Lantern in any shape or form, in any iteration. I went, this is dope. I'm looking forward to the Green Lantern. I really am. Tommy Diecast, don't you do that with don't come in on the damn Ryan Reynolds, dog. There's a reason they only made one of those. Now when it comes to who is the Green Lantern, John Stewart or John Jones, well, this show's going to go a long way in determining that. I think the fact that they put them both together is a very interesting way to tell this story. I thought the first episode was phenomenal. The fact that Hal Jordan The fact that Hal Jordan dies, spoiler alert, in the first episode, but the story was meant to be told from the start to when you get to the point of the end of the first episode. So have fun with that. But yeah, man, I like the Green Lantern. I really like where it's going. So y'all should check it out and we can talk about it. Because Game of Thrones, I'm not a big Game of Thrones guy. Yeah, I mean, Affy says, I feel like DC's never done well. DC's only success literally was The Dark Knight. That was literally it. The Dark Knight was the only thing that they've done. Now that DC's been taken over by James Gunn, they're going to start doing like the Penguin. Fantastic. Now they're going to do Clayface, and I think Clayface is going to be good because the same people who did the Penguin are going to do Clayface, so that'll probably be good too, but we'll see. I'm excited about season 2 of the Penguin. I want to see the Batman 2. I don't know when the hell it's coming out, but still hitless. Still hitless. That's crazy. The game's too damn early, man. I think WVC asked me yesterday, I should simulcast the game and the show. We're now on, I think it's the 6th to 5th inning, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, let me see where we're at. I think we're in the 5th inning now. 4th inning, top of the 4th inning. We don't have a hit. So, yeah. But I didn't do that. I didn't want to watch Manny strike out twice. Y'all get to the game. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hopefully they get a hit and we'll have something to talk about tomorrow. Keep your hands to yourself. Peace.
Subscribe to the John Browner podcast on YouTube and download the podcast on iTunes. I know I don't look like him. Just go subscribe.